Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of the Loose Balls Podcast. I'm your host, Chris, and I'm here with your co-host, Eli.
We're back and better than ever here, baby.
We're cooking, and hey,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we
Picking
got
up low
playoff football.
temperatures, I would
God,
say. Yeah.
yeah, we got playoff football to talk about. We didn't do very
Yep.
good. If we're being honest,
Not
I
too
was
much.
50%, and then on the split,
Yep.
and Eli was
Only
25%.
got one.
Uh,
Only got one,
but
you know.
to be fair, the Commanders have not made it past the first round since 1991. So to think that they were going to do this
Yes.
here blew my mind. If we're being honest,
Blew
it
my
blew my
mind
mind.
as well.
This team is a
I think it blew everyone's
2015
mind,
super
honestly.
team,
Yep.
and it's making the playoffs. Um,
It's insane.
the game was good. I mean, it looked good. It, are we really surprised that I think it was the offensive coordinator for the Lions immediately took the job with the Bears? It was like, nah, that was our year. We're not making it
Yeah.
back. We're not making it
Yeah,
back.
yeah, exactly. I know it's all a little too soon. At least with me for all this coaching news here. There was talks of like him going to like several different places, and to see him land up there isn't too surprising. I
No.
mean, there's lots of people that are saying, "Oh, this is going to be the new dynamic. This is exactly what the Bears needed." But at the end of the day, I don't trust the Bears as far as I can throw them. I'm going to need to see a solid season out of them before I can make any casting and calls with all this.
Yeah, the Bears are not the best track record. I think they
Not the best
have.
track.
I don't know. When was the last time they've made it far into the playoffs? Was it Brian Urlacher leading a defense? Jay Cutler, right? Like it was the Jay Cutler era. We were making some playoff pushes, and then everything since then has been
Justin Fields didn't make it to a first round bounce.
no.
No.
Fields didn't make it, and then before that was Mitch Trubisky that they traded up for. He didn't make
Yep.
it. Um,
Hmm.
who else? I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it might have been
No.
Cutler. I think it might have just been
It
Cutler
probably
was the last
was.
one. So that's early 2010s,
Oh wow. Yeah. There you
right?
go.
Right? Because Cutler was like went to Miami shortly after that. I don't
I don't
remember.
even remember. The only
It's been a
teams around
while.
that time I was even paying attention to were the Ravens, Steelers, Giants. The big ones.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So we got that one wrong. That means that they. Oh, excuse me. They get the Eagles in the
Yes.
playoffs because that was the other one
Hmm.
we split on. Uh,
Yep.
watching that game though, I don't know why we split. The Eagles were just hands down the better team.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I don't think we. Oh, on the for the Rams, Eagles.
Rams Eagles.
Yeah, they were the objectively better team. Better run game, better receivers, better kind of scheme. I didn't really trust the coaching situation yet. I
Yeah.
thought they would have some pitfalls in play calls, which only showed up once or twice. It didn't really rear its ugly head this time. I want to say there was only one AJ Brown drop throughout that whole pretty much game, and we got like a really solid Jalen Hurts performance in general, at least comparing to this season. So yeah, I mean it's a tough call, you know, um, but they squeaked out the win.
They did. So I was thinking about this when we were talking about play calling, and then I was listening to it back. I was like, you know what? I wonder because they talked about it before that Nick Sirianni had lost the locker room for some time now. Like had been really struggling with the
Yeah,
locker room. I was wondering if it was uh, that Jalen Hurts was just checking every play. They want us to do what now? Nah, check that. We're gonna run. Saquon's gonna get five. Like,
maybe. I don't think the team trusts Jalen quite that much either. I
no.
mean, like he's still relatively new to the team as well. Like Jason was the head here for a little while. They had a pretty good torch handoff, but I don't really necessarily see a big culture coming out of the Eagles locker room.
Yeah, it's because they got Big Dom. Never forget.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. Hmm. Yep.
Um, but so I guess what that leaves to me is with the Lions being out now. Stafford got his ring. He was asking for
Yeah,
more money this offseason. If you're the Rams, do you keep Stafford? I don't know if there's a better
yeah,
option
yeah,
available, but
yeah. You keep him at least for this offseason for sure. You
yeah.
know.
Okay. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I could see that. Like it's not like impossible for me to see him coming back for another couple seasons, but it was just one of those things that it's like, is this the did we get the best out of Stafford already? Like are we going to get
Um,
more because he's now
I think
also
we can.
almost 40.
Yeah, he is. This all being said, his performance in this last half of the season has been extraordinary to put it any like way of lightly. This is exactly mimicking his Super Bowl push or his Super Bowl push. Um, he did phenomenal this season. I don't see why they would get rid of him, other than to usher in someone that might be a good tutelage underneath him. Some good candidates, I think, for that
Mm-hmm.
would be Sam Darnold. You know,
Yeah.
I think he would fit well behind Matthew Stafford. I think Pastronaut over with the 49ers would fit well behind him as well.
Behind, sure, but never as a starter. Sam Darnold, I could at least see being
Yeah,
like, maybe he's a starter. Maybe. Like,
yeah. hmm
uh,
I feel like those players would fit well in that dynamic. You know, the kind of we are making absolute micro adjustments to these plays, and we need you to be comfortable with it on the fly and execute. So,
yeah.
execution is the name of the game. I think Sam Darnold needs a little bit of training, and Josh Dobbs, but I feel like those might be some decent candidates at least to learn underneath him.
That's fair. Um, I I still think now that my hot take is falling apart that Texans Lions are not going to be the Super Bowl teams. I think the one team that really could stand in the way of the Chiefs on their three-peat quest is the Eagles. And even then, I don't know if that's enough
Ooh,
because the
okay.
league wants Patty Mahomes to get to this three-peat, which leads me into my next
Yeah.
game. Uh,
Mm,
the Texans Chiefs. I was at a golf sim when this was going on, and in
mm,
between, like while waiting my turn, I'm watching the game. I, like the kid gloves that Patty Mahomes is
yeah.
getting right now is ridiculous.
It's
You
it's
can't
embarrassing,
you can't touch
truthfully.
him. I watched
Yeah.
the nose tackle for the Texans. Don't know his name.
Yep.
Sorry. You did good
Yeah.
work. You
Yeah.
should get paid.
Did good defense. Yeah.
Gets
Yeah.
through. Patty Mahomes goes to throw. He hits him, but he doesn't fall on him, and it's a momentum hit. There's no way that he
Yeah.
could have stopped. And the
Yeah.
roughing the passer. That's a first down. It's
Yeah.
gotten to the point that Patty Mahomes is flopping to sell fouls.
Yeah.
And I get it.
Yeah.
Like
It's
that's
that
part
bad.
of the league now. But
Yeah.
in a contact sport like football, I feel like it should be hard to sell fouls, but it was a
Yeah.
I watched him run for like 2 yards, and then when he's going out of
Mm.
bounds, he gets bumped. And when he gets bumped, he
He
throws
stopped.
himself.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh,
No, he
hey, yeah,
doesn't only do that. He stops at the out of bounds line and then to force the hit essentially.
yeah,
So it's more than embarrassing to see what at least this team has been concocting as far as what you can get out of yardage with fouls. I'm at the point where I'm at ready to boycott Kansas City games altogether. I just probably won't even watch them. I'm probably just gonna watch the footage afterwards to see what kind of highlights I can get.
I
It's it is it is bad to say the least.
right." And I don't know. I don't fault Patty Mahomes or Bruce Arians or anybody on that team going all the way up the chain to the top for not taking advantage of this system. This is an easy way to get a leg up over your opponents, and it's not
Right.
really on you. It's on the reffing organization, and it's on Roger Goodell and the
Yeah.
NFL to step in and say, actually,
I find it
we
curious. I find it curious that this hand waving goes towards Kansas City, though. And after seeing um, Lamar Jackson get tackled out of bounds in some bad plays in their game, after seeing Jared Goff take a or take a helmet to helmet at the end zone when he was trying to get a block at the last second, it's extremely embarrassing to see how these other teams are being differently treated.
it's the
And the
whole
fact that it's
Sorry, I'll let you finish.
The fact that it's going towards Kansas City, I don't think is necessarily a mistake. But I mean, make the impact of the viewership. That's what I'm saying.
It's the politics of it. I mean, don't get me wrong, Lamar Jackson's a great quarterback, but he just went through that controversy where he was representing himself, trying to get deals done, and he was really not doing what he was supposed to be doing. You have Josh Allen, who's good, but he's not he's not as out there, I think, as Patty Mahomes. Like, not that I think he's like an antisocial person, but when you look at Patrick Mahomes, this is the guy that they're going to make the face of the franchise. Like, they've
Yeah,
decided his best friend on his team happens to be dating pop icon Taylor Swift. He's
yeah,
in an like he's a successful athlete. He's already getting talks of like, is this guy going to be better than Tom Brady? Whenever that conversation starts to happen, the league is just
yeah.
going to snap to him and be like, that's a lot of money. That is a lot of money
Hmm.
that is coming our way, and
Yep,
we are going to protect our assets. If
yep,
Lamar Jackson broke his leg tomorrow and missed next season, the Ravens would stink,
yeah.
but I don't think it would change the NFL. Patrick Mahomes gets hurt, who are they going to talk about? They go back to talking about Lamar and Josh Allen, but they're
Hmm.
not even not likable. I'm sure they're very likable people and they're very good locker room
Yep,
personalities. It's literally just from the fact that imaging wise, this is the guy. He fell into the Chiefs' lap and they just took it. So,
yeah, yeah.
uh,
I mean, this one being said, I don't necessarily think Patty Mahomes is that profitable. I don't think he's the second coming. I think you could easily replace him in an off season, not even through several seasons of successful playoff pushes, but like putting emphasis on players that are performing well, like Jaden Daniels, is good enough to keep the people coming back. I mean, sure, you're not going to get the Swifties, but the Swifties aren't there to watch Patty Mahomes get a
no.
pass to Travis Kelsey. They don't care. They're there for the photo op. They're there for whatever kind of drama you can extrapolate out of it.
I I don't
And
know.
so
I don't know if we could
take
replace
take
the
I
stats.
say I say take the drama out of the gameplay and put it in give it to someone else. Give it to the casters. Give it to even the cheerleaders. Give it to the mascots. Give it to the concessions people. Something fun. Something that doesn't affect the gameplay itself.
Oh, don't get me wrong. Like, I agree. Like, I think the NFL shouldn't treat him with kid gloves. I think the Chiefs should get penalized same as everybody else, and we really should let them play. I'm just saying that that's the politics behind it. Like, the league has decided that this guy's going to be the face of the franchise, that or the face of the
Yeah,
league. Um, and so, that being said, he lived up to the hype by absolutely stomping on the Texans. They did good. The Texans were fine. Like, they weren't bad. And again,
there we go.
out of the four teams that are playing, two of them are in so-called rebuild. So it's like
Hmm.
they weren't bad, but the moment they drew the Chiefs, it was over. And I know there's any given
Yeah,
Sunday, but they weren't going to win, even without the penalties
yeah,
favoring Patty Mahomes. That
yeah. No, Texans played horribly for sure. This being said, the team that I believe has the best odds to take out the Chiefs out of everyone in these championships here is the Bills. So it's going to be definitely an uphill battle for them. I've been saying for this past week now, even with the handshaking or the kid gloves, um, I don't think the Chiefs are able to overcome the offense that Josh Allen can put together here.
that's true. And that being said, we both got the Bills Ravens wrong. We took the Ravens, but it really came down to we
Yep,
talked about it. Which quarterback's going to choke less? And that's exactly what happened.
yep, that's
And
exactly
so,
what happened. Yep,
uh, I, yeah. And I do agree with you that I think the Bills stand the best chance because they're the only other team that plays in an icebox of an arena. Like
yep,
every other team, to an extent. The Steelers get a lot of snow too, but they don't make it very far in the playoffs anymore, so it doesn't necessarily matter. It
Green Bay too. Green Bay too.
the same thing. They don't make it very far in the playoffs, so it doesn't like
Yeah,
it'll matter in like 2 or 3 years, but it doesn't matter right now.
yeah, that's true.
Um, so that being said, it is what it is. I do think that all the games were good. I think that it's
Hmm.
playoff football. There's always going to be stuff that people are upset about. Of course, this one's all going to focus on the Chiefs and the calls that they got.
Yeah.
I'm sorry if you can pick up if it's picking up the squeaking in the background. Gus is going absolutely nuts on a toy back
You're
there.
good.
Um,
Yeah.
but what I think will be interesting going forward is so okay. Sorry, before we go into like what's going to happen in these upcoming games, I'm just going to come out and say it. I think it's going to be the Eagles beat the Commanders, and I think the Chiefs beat
Okay.
the Bills. I think we get an Eagles Chiefs rematch.
Oh.
The Eagles get the chance to now stop the three-peat. I don't necessarily think that's going to happen, but
Hmm.
I will say the game that I am less confident about is the Commanders Eagles, because I was confident the Eagles were going to beat or the Commanders were going to
Oh.
beat the Lions or the Lions were going to beat the
Wow.
Commanders. I
Same.
I don't I don't know. Is it Dan Quinn? Is Dan Quinn the guy? Like, did we just sleep on him in
I know.
Atlanta when he lost 28 to
Really
3?
big question mark.
But
I know. Yeah.
what I'm saying is that if the Commanders beat the Eagles, Nick Sirianni gets fired. Nick Sirianni doesn't make it through the postseason. Nick Sirianni gets to the interview, and then after the interview, they're shaking his hand, being like, "Hey, that was a good run. Just get your stuff out and be out by Monday." Like,
Yep.
hey, don't
Yep.
worry, we
I
got you a
mean,
flight home. Like,
realistically, by this point, this late of a playoff push, does he really kind of not earn himself another season, especially with his drought in head coaches?
I think he is just so disliked by the team and the fan base that
Mm.
he doesn't like. He's not going to get it. Like, I think he has gotten this much rope because of how many playoff appearances that he's made. But you can only make the playoffs so many times and not win it all with an organization where like you're done. And I know there's a couple. Like I think the Steelers hold on to guys. The Ravens hold on to guys. Like there are teams. Excuse me. Sorry, I've got a cold, so my throat's killing me and my voice is going. But there are guys. Like there are organizations that don't. The Eagles are not one of them. The Eagles uh, held on to Chip Kelly for I think a season, 2 seasons. Doug Peterson got
Yep.
2 years. He won a Super Bowl. Don't forget this. He won a Super Bowl with Nick Foles, and the next season they're like, screw that. This isn't the guy.
Mm.
So I think Nick Sirianni's gotten more rope than recent coaches. So I don't
Yep.
know. Uh,
That's fair.
that being said, on an unrelated, just talking about Doug Peterson, how he's not fired from Jacksonville yet is wild to me. I don't understand, and maybe I won't. Maybe
Yeah,
they're just
he's gone.
chalking
He's
up.
gone.
Maybe they're just chalking it
Yeah.
up to injuries. But I thought that was a dead coach
Yeah.
walking. I thought that was like the last couple of
Maybe.
games was like
Maybe.
whatever.
Maybe they're kind of like holding true this kind of spirit to coaching hires in this kind of like late season. Like there's this kind of train of thought that like you shouldn't be trying to hire coaches before the Super Bowl is done, essentially. Just because of like the attachments like these coaches have to different teams and like the pretty much the motivations that they might have going into these contracts. So maybe they're trying to be like some sort of bastion in that kind of case. I highly doubt it, but I do believe he is also a dead man walking at this
Or
point.
their owners just too into their wrestling ventures that they're in that they're not really paying attention. But
Yeah,
I mean,
that
that is wild to me.
yeah, that
Uh,
that is pretty crazy.
like the fact that we're
Yeah,
still talking about like oh he's still a coach is not it for me. But
yeah,
that being said, I don't think any other coaches are necessarily on the chopping block out of the teams that are still in it. I think
yeah.
Dan Quinn has secured himself at least the next 2 years as the Commanders
Okay.
coach. I think
Hmm.
Riverboat Ron turned it around and got 2 years.
Yep.
So I think Dan Quinn's probably in that same boat unless
Oh
they
yeah.
absolutely fall off.
Yeah.
Nathaniel Hackett has started his own coaching tree of people branching out doing stuff. I don't think they're gonna let him go. It was close. I thought we were close in like the middle of last season. We thought he was gonna be let go, and I guess it was the defensive coordinator. Get rid of him, and all of a sudden we're looking good. Um, so I think he's okay. And then we have Bruce Arians. And Bruce Arians isn't going to go anywhere, right? No.
Mhm.
No, no, no. It's not Bruce Arians.
Um,
Is it Bruce Arians or am
I
I?
believe it is, right? Yeah.
That was the Bucks coach, I thought. Andy Reid.
Oh.
Andy Reid. I'm
Oh.
mixing him up
Andy
because
Reid.
they're both heavyset white guys with a mustache. Um,
Nice.
Andy Reid. He's going to retire. Like, if he goes anywhere, he's going to retire.
He'd
You
have
can't
to.
fire him. Like, he's just one
Yeah.
of the winningest coaches in history. Uh, what are we
Yep.
talking about? Like, he's not going to get fired.
Yep.
So,
Yeah. That's pretty wild.
uh,
Yeah. On the other side of the coin, on that, if you want to know any sort of coaches that are remotely interested in working in the NFL right now, look no further than the interviews over with the Jets right now. I believe they're on like interview like 200 or something like that with like people that are willing to like come in and work with them. Um, Needless to say, they're having a hard time trying to find someone that might fit in with their dynamic. Wonder why, right?
right?
It seems as if that's a telltale kind of a little curtail that Aaron Rodgers is going to be playing next season. In
We
my
knew
opinion,
that.
you know. I mean, maybe. I mean, I was a little convinced that we saw this last week, but who knows, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Sorry.
versing yeah, a little bit further back to my picks over here. Um, I'm gonna have to take the flip coin on you with the Bills Chiefs here. I'm gonna be taking Bills and Eagles going forward here.
Okay.
Just for the exact same sentiment that I was voicing earlier, you know, I don't see the Chiefs putting in enough effort in order to overcome at least what I saw in that Bills defense. That Bills defense, I mean, it was a kind of middle of the pack defense throughout this season. They were looking really good. Chiefs defense was also looking really good in this last game. Josh Allen is going to be having a lot of pressure, but out of those two QBs, who's dealing with pressure better right now? It's definitely kind of a toss-up. It's
Yeah.
definitely kind of a toss-up. The issue with the Texans is their secondary wasn't able to cover anything that was open out in the middle, essentially. So if Bills can figure that out and have Vaughn kind of put a little bit more pressure on Mahomes, get some sloppy passes out there, they're going to be finding themselves some picks here in this next game. My prediction, 2 picks. Bills are going to
Okay.
get 2 picks.
Okay. Also crazy that we're still talking about Von Miller in a sense of like serious playing time. I don't mean this in a mean way. He's a
Yeah,
great athlete,
I completely agree.
but
hmm
uh,
This dude's a legend.
yeah, the man, the myth, the legend. Him and
hmm
Khalil Mack. I don't know how they're still
hmm
around. I think Khalil Mack is actually younger than Von Miller though.
Yeah, I think so. Just by like a couple years, I think.
Yeah.
hmm Yep, and then Eagles for same reasons. You know, I don't really see them getting outdone by the Commanders. I mean, sure, the Commanders had like a 50-plus point game in the postseason this last game, which is kind of insane.
Yeah.
Um, I think Eagles can be more productive, and it's going to come down to that Eagles defense being able to get at least a couple stops here. I mean, we were talking
Yeah.
big on Lions defense, and they weren't able to do anything to that Commanders offense whatsoever. So
Because they didn't have
it's
Bobby
going to come
Wagner.
down to be who's. Yeah, yeah, there you go. It's going to come down to who can be more productive on the offense here.
Yeah. And okay, so we'll be split again. One of us will get one right, the other will get two, or we get none. One of us gets none, and one of us gets
Or we're
one.
gonna, we
And then we're
we
talking
run
about
this
how
off
Nick,
go around, so
yeah, and we're talking about how Nick Sirianni got fired. Uh,
yeah, exactly.
so, um, but speaking of kind of news that's come out in this last week, since we talked about and we talked about the playoffs, made our picks. Your Raiders got a new GM, the Bucks' former
GM.
assistant GM,
Yep.
who was there to help with the Tom Brady acquisition and the rebuild that led to the Super Bowl.
Yep.
I think he was also one of the one. Well, he had to have been in the room for the Baker Mayfield move. So,
Yep.
does that give you a bit of like a okay, maybe we're going
Yeah.
in the right direction, or is it?
Kind of a gut check, you know, kind of a gut check. I just want to preface the last time we kind of took someone under the tutelage of the Brady wing, um, was Josh McDaniels.
Yep.
So that's kind of the last taste that I have in my mouth. I'm gonna need to see a overall haul of about 80% on the productivity of this offense in order for him to be proving his worth here. Like it's going to be a pretty high bar for him to clear. I mean, seeing what they did with the Buccaneers, turning them around in such a rapid rate, I'm going to be expecting the same thing here. And if they cannot do it, he is job delivered to me. Simple as
Yeah.
that.
And to be fair, I always forget that Brady is a minority owner of the Raiders, and so that makes total sense why they brought him in, because I'm sure that guy was right on Brady's hip the moment he got in the building. Like,
Yep.
what do you need? What can we do?
Oh yeah.
Uh,
Mm.
so makes sense. I,
Yep.
you guys still need a coach, and that's why
Yep.
the GM comes first, because he's gonna pick your coach. But
Mhm.
I mean, there's options out there. Doug Peterson's going to be available here in like 2 weeks, and we could talk about him going. He's a quarterback
Hey,
guru.
hey, Amari Cooper back to the Raiders? Question mark.
All right, you guys could rebuild the dream team that you never
Oh,
had because Amari Cooper is a
oh,
free
yeah.
agent. Khalil Mack is a free agent.
Yep,
You could get them both. Just bring them
yep.
both back. Get them back in Raiders. Let him retire a Raider. Absolutely.
Oh,
Maybe
that'd
you
be
could
so
swing for
cool.
Josh Jacobs. Like, hey, we're just
Yeah,
building the team of players that have left us to be good somewhere
that
else.
would be
Let's get them back.
crazy.
Uh,
That that would be crazy.
in all seriousness, while I don't think Khalil Mack will make as much a difference to the defense, Amari Cooper would improve the
Mhm.
offense with just
He
the
would improve the
experience.
offense.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I also heard rumblings that,
Mhm.
just speaking of players returning to their teams, Devontae Adams also wants to go back to Green Bay, to which as Green Bay would be
Oh my
like,
gosh.
absolutely not. Just stay over there.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
Two,
don't give, yeah,
two of these. You know
don't
what
get
I'm
me
saying? Yeah.
don't get me wrong. Like I think he'd do a
There's
fine
no.
on that team, but who are you moving out of the way for him?
Yeah.
The entire
Mhm.
receiving core is all young, talented individuals. You're telling me you're gonna kick one of them
Yes.
off and be like, it's actually gonna be aging
It
Devontae Adams?
doesn't fit whatsoever. Yeah, there's no way.
No. Uh,
Yep. But
okay.
these are fun thought experiments, at least with this new GM here. You know, I mean, it's like who even knows? We're obviously in a complete rebuild right now. We're
Yeah.
gonna put everything on the defense. Was listening to Max's podcast here. He knows that, you know. He's not necessarily involved with the coach hiring process, but he gets to be in on the meetings and stuff like that. So
hmm
it's going to be interesting to kind of see how this team kind of moves forward, you know. So it's as simple as that.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, so we talked about players going back to their old teams. I was reminded of a post, and this is why I wanted to. If you don't mind, I just want to do a little tangent here and talk about how Instagram, big sports companies. I'm just gonna pick on them
Okay.
all here. Bleacher Report is probably the worst at this. They just make lists. That's all they make is they make
It's
lists.
just a list.
They just make lists of like the best and the worst trade, or these are some big trades that could happen that would really shake up the
I
NBA or the
remember.
NFL.
I remember those. Yep.
Stop it. I could come out here and make some
Hey
ridiculous.
man,
Hey, you know what?
I
Dolphins next
remember.
season, if they
I
traded
remember
for
some of
Patty
those.
Mahomes, they're winning the Super Bowl. Yeah, of course he's going to win the Super Bowl if you trade for Pat. Like, stop
Oh,
that.
yep.
Give me a real take here. What are we
Yep.
talking about?
Yep.
And
Crazy.
the
Crazy.
reason I say this is because they posted for veteran QBs the best and worst landing spots for them. They didn't post the whole list because they want you to
Oh.
go to their website, but let me give you a couple here.
Mm.
Sam Darnold.
Oh boy.
Sam Darnold.
Okay.
The best landing spot for Sam Darnold right now, and the worst landing spot for Sam Darnold right now. And the worst one's a no-brainer, so that's why I got a little upset with this one. I was like, yeah, no shit. This
Yeah.
is, of course you wouldn't want to go there. Uh,
Hmm.
give me your takes. Best landing spot for Sam Darnold, worst landing spot
Uh,
for Sam Darnold.
Worst spot for Sam Darnold, Commanders.
Mm-hmm.
Best spot for Sam Darnold. Ooh. And is this supposed to be a prediction on what this image
So the
is?
list is a mix. Uh, But this one, I will tell you that if Sam Darnold goes here, he is probably going to be the starter unless a quarterback is taken.
Hmm. Um, Sam Darnold to the Colts?
Actually, that wouldn't be that bad. They're going to hold on to Anthony Richardson, though. So the
Yeah.
worst landing spot, of course, is the Jets. He's never going back to the
Oh,
Jets.
okay.
Who the
Yeah.
Jets aren't even
Okay.
picking. Like Sam Darnold sees them call and he's just like, "Nah, we're not even gonna chat. You don't
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
enough money in the salary cap to bring me back there." Click.
Yep.
Um, no, they actually said the best team was New York, and while I don't hate that, I
Oh.
but I'm gonna stop on this because that is giving too much credit to Sam Darnold, and I don't think Sam Darnold is
I agree.
bad, but I don't think
I
he's
agree.
making the Giants better.
I agree.
I
Yeah.
think
This all being said, I think Danny Dimes has kind of been a little hoed in his career here so far.
yeah, well, that's why he's in
Kind of in
Minnesota
the Sam
backing up
Darnold
Sam
esque.
Darnold.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's kind of in a Sam Darnold esque kind of situation. Yeah.
but I
Yeah.
just don't
That's
like he doesn't that offense
Damn
doesn't get better with
crazy.
him on it. They might as well just draft.
No.
Like just draft.
Yeah.
They're not gonna like. I don't see New York taking him as a QB. Best
Yeah.
spot in my opinion
Mhm.
would be the Raiders because he's not gonna do worse than what you have. And you're
Yeah.
not drafting a QB this year anyways because you've got enough wins that you're not like, or
I
maybe you
think
do.
that's good if he wants a lot of money. You know,
Yeah.
if he wants a lot of money, he could go there. But I don't think it's going to be kind of a similar situation to the Giants. I don't think he makes all that big of an impact, honestly.
Or because the team is already kind of stacked, even though they're losing a key piece here in this offseason, everybody knows it. I wouldn't be mad if he went to Miami. I think
Oh, that would be a fun. That would be a
this
good spot
so
for him.
this is on the
Okay.
contingent that the Dolphins have let Tua go or Tua has announced a retirement for his health. And
Yeah.
I could see Sam Darnold going there, and then because we've won enough games that we're not getting a top QB in this draft. So one of two
Yeah.
things happens: either Sam Darnold keeps the ball rolling, and we run with Sam Darnold and try and just build around him on a cheaper veteran budget, or he sucks
Yep.
and we get a quarterback next year. Like
Yep.
the Giants wouldn't. It doesn't make sense for the Giants because they've got the pick this year. Take a quarterback. Why are we waiting?
Yeah.
And so I think Miami is the next fit. Like I might,
Yeah.
if I'm Sam
That
Darnold,
would
I
be
might not even,
that.
I might even sign because I know I'm hitting all my player bonuses because Tua gets hurt every year.
Mhm. Or hear me out.
Yeah.
Sam Darnold backed up Deshaun Watson for the Browns and does another late playoff push.
So Deshaun Watson's actually on this list. Cause no, Deshaun Watson's not on this list. Sorry, Deshaun Watson is out for
Okay.
next season. So just assume that anybody going to the Browns is a starting quarterback. No, he is. He tore his
Yeah.
ACL in rehab. He's done.
Wait.
So whoever the
Oh
Browns sign this
yeah.
offseason is their starting quarterback.
Wow.
And then they've got one more year of Deshaun before they never have to see him again.
Oh.
Hard to
Could you
believe that we're
imagine
5 years
being?
into this awful
Oh my
contract.
gosh. I know, dude. Could you imagine being the upper management for the Browns?
Oh my god!
Oh
How are they
gosh.
still there? I like the only person I can feel genuinely embarrassed for is the owner because no matter what,
Oh
you can
yeah.
fire everybody below you, but then you got to look the rest of your owner
Yep.
buddies in the eye and be like, "Hey, at least he wasn't convicted of all 24." Like
Oh my
that's
gosh.
so awful. You signed that check
Yep.
and you okayed that contract knowing his personal outside history because you thought he was going to ball, and he can't. He
Yep.
physically cannot. It's not even a,
Yep.
well, if we just got the time of the practice. He can't. He has a limited number of snaps before that leg goes. Secretly,
Yep.
I think he's just tweaking it on the sideline. Like he's like really just yanking it
Oh
around the
yeah.
turn, just like
Oh yeah.
come on, pop
I
out.
mean, why not? You know? Yeah.
Right.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
no, I
Insane.
yeah. Uh, okay. So speaking of, next one is Danny Dimes. Danny Dimes makes the list. There is a
Mm.
best and a worst case scenario. I think the best case scenario here
Ooh.
is a interesting one. I don't I don't dislike it, but it doesn't quite make sense to me. And then the worst team, it's going to come up a couple times, and this is just literally we couldn't think of a worse team in the NFL that a quarterback could go to, so we're
Uh,
just going to list it like 3 times.
okay. Honestly, I think worst team he could go to would be the Las Vegas Raiders for
Okay.
this.
Well, that's because you don't
And
want him.
yeah, a little bit, a little bit. Um, just being that being said, though, like he's no, I don't think he's necessarily a star stud from Gardner Minshew. You know, if he wants to have another fucking 3-10 season, go for it. But like, you know, that's just the way the cookie crumbles. I think best team Danny Dimes can find himself on. Best team, best team, best team. Hmm. You know, what is he, year 4 now?
Yeah, yeah. I think he's year 4 or 5, because he was injured for a year, so his contract didn't count.
Hey, have him split snaps with oh man, um, with the Patriots.
I mean, okay. I mean, the Patriots are gonna suck either way, so whoever you put back there is getting murdered. Like, but I do think Drake May is better. Uh,
Yeah.
so worst team by a long shot for any QB not named Sam Darnold going to the Jets um, is the Tennessee Titans. Like it's a quarterback
Oh
death
yeah.
for any like
Yep.
quarterback
That
that's
makes
not
sense.
above average. And then
Hmm.
they said the
Yep.
best team is the LA Rams. And I think
Wow.
that means that they're keeping Stafford for
Wow.
1 to 2 more years. They're signing Danny Dimes
Yeah.
to a backup. If Stafford gets
Wow.
hurt, he's somewhat competent. And if Stafford decides to retire and they don't like who they're going to draft, he's a stopgap year quarterback. I,
Yeah. I don't think he would be worth that much though. You know, like
I
you're it's a guaranteed losing season. You know.
well, it is, and I think this is just their polite way of saying he's never going to be a starter again. At least not for right now. He's gonna have to earn
Yeah.
that long term start just to show that he's worth it.
Yeah.
Or luck into that long term start. I just don't see it. Like,
Yeah.
so I think this is a best case scenario.
Hmm.
All right. Again, the next one falls under the category of no shit. The next quarterback is Russell Wilson. Give me his best fit and his worst fit.
Uh, Worst fits Broncos by
Mm.
far.
That's actually a good one.
Uh,
I didn't think of that one, but that's not what they listed.
uh, oh man. I mean, he self implodes on the Broncos. Uh, best fit, best fit Raiders. Saying it.
Okay.
I know I keep on bringing up my team here, but I think he would do really well with the Raiders. Honestly,
All right. What about his worst fit?
worst fit Broncos. I'm sticking to
Oh,
it.
Broncos best fit.
Co-
Sorry. Oh,
oh,
and you said Raiders. Never
best
mind.
fit Raiders. Yeah.
Never mind. Never mind. I mean, that was a brain fart. I just spaced. Right there. So they said the worst fit was the Titans, which yeah.
I
Okay.
don't think that it would honestly be the worst fit. Honestly, I mean, I think he could do a lot for the team.
I do too. Well, I don't think it's a good fit. I think if it's not like if the Broncos didn't have such a bad taste in his mouth, I think it would be the Titans. Best fit is the Steelers. Like, hey, he won us to the playoffs from
Yeah.
here. Yeah, no, yeah. Give me some
I
wild. Like, I
mean,
don't need the
put in yeah,
no-brainer.
put in anyone.
Yeah.
That one's pathetic. Honestly,
Speaking of
that one's pathetic.
seeing a pattern here, next one's Justin Fields. Give me the best and worst.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
I guess sorry. For Russell Wilson, the worst for me is still the Titans or the Broncos. Yeah, the Steelers are the best fit. He's not going back anyplace
Yeah.
else where he's going to do better. So yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. That's fair. Justin Fields, eh?
yeah.
Honestly, I'm saying Ravens. I'm saying Ravens is best fit.
To back up Lamar,
Replace Lamar.
he's not replacing Lamar. You're out your mind. This guy's had MVP caliber seasons 2 years in a row. That's a
After
hot take. We're saving hot
after
takes for
seeing
after this.
okay. Hey, that's a hot take. I know, but Lamar, He don't got it. He does not have that factor anymore.
That's a wildly hot take. But okay. And then what's his worst fit?
Um, Worst fit. Ooh, where is his worst fit? Um, I would say worst fit for Justin Fields would honestly be the Cardinals.
Yeah,
I would
I
say
mean
that would
yeah.
be his worst fit.
Yeah, cuz he's going to
Like they
want to
have
compete with
pieces.
Kyler. And so,
Yeah, they have pieces on the team that already does what he does, really well too. So I don't see anything he would add to the team.
yeah. Um, well, they went with the low hanging fruit again and said the best team in the NFL is the Steelers. Like again,
Uh,
he didn't lose with
yeah,
them, but he doesn't want to be a
yeah,
backup, so he's gonna
yeah,
go
yeah.
somewhere else. Worst team was the
Mhm,
Browns, and honestly,
mhm.
I don't know if I fully agree with that. Like,
I don't
I
agree with that. Yeah,
I think
I think
I
he
think
does
he'd
well
do
with
fine
them.
on the Browns. He would do exactly what he did on the
Yep,
Bears, be the leading rusher,
yep.
and when Nick Chubb finally comes back, he's gonna hand the ball off a bit more. He's gonna hit
If he
a.
comes back.
He's gonna fall on it. He's gonna fall on his tight end again. He's got David Njoku, so it's
Yep.
fine.
Hmm.
I don't
There
know.
you go.
It can't be worse than being stuck as a backup. I was gonna
Yeah,
say, and
I
if
don't think it's worse.
not the Browns, the Giants. I think if the Giants aren't
Oh,
drafting
okay,
a QB this year and they want a ball cheap,
okay.
take Justin Fields on a prove it deal.
Okay.
Again, he's gonna be your leading
I
rusher.
think
Like,
honestly, kind of like a waste of breath, at least in my opinion. You got Devin Singletary kind of backing him up there. Um, I don't see too much production on that offense. Um, yeah. That being said, I do see less production over with the Cardinals for sure.
yeah,
I mean, that's just me though.
yeah.
Hmm.
Uh, he made the list. I only looked through like the first five, and I was like, "Oh, we should probably talk about this." It's my least favorite quarterback right now, and I have a best place in mind where
Oh,
he should end up. So it is the
mhm.
best and worst for Joe Flacco.
Oh, wow. Okay.
The best is kind of funny though. I will say, like, I
Honestly, I'm gonna throw it back to Justin Fields here. Best Ravens. Bring him back.
let him retire. I'd say okay. He's not replacing
Yeah,
Lamar.
he's not
He's
replacing.
not
No, he's
replacing
backup.
Lamar. Yeah,
No, he wouldn't really
yeah.
do
Your
that.
hot take has to have a cutoff. Joe Flacco is not coming back to replace
No,
Lamar.
yeah, no, no, he's not. No. Worst for Joe Flacco? Ugh, is there such a thing as worst for Joe Flacco? That's the real philosophical question. Um, Worst for Joe Flacco? Hmm. I'm saying on a deal-wise basis, I say worse is 49ers.
Okay, that's probably fair because they're gonna have to pay Purdy here
Uh,
soon.
they're gonna pay Purdy here pretty soon, and Flacco's not gonna get a dime when it
Yeah,
goes over.
yeah. I don't know. I feel like he's taking just cheap deals everywhere. I know he's getting paid decent on the Colts,
Yeah,
but like at this point,
yeah,
he
but
can't be taking in that much money. Like,
he's just like he still has it, dude. Like he has that thing that can win a game still. That's what keeps him afloat over here. You know what I'm saying?
he bet money with Frank Gore that he could stay in the league longer. That's what he did.
I don't think he's gonna win that bet.
I don't know. Frank
I
Gore
don't.
was around
I don't think
forever.
he was. Yeah. I
Um,
don't think Flacco's gonna win that.
in fact, it's crazy. He's in one of our first podcast episodes, I think.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Hmm.
Um, so they have worse for him as the Steelers, which makes sense. Like
Okay.
he's not. He's just basically going
Gonna
back to
get
be
some
Kenny
paycheck.
Pickett,
Yeah.
and and they already would have two good QBs if they kept Russ and Fields.
And I feel like with Tomlin, that's like it's like oil and water. It's
It's
like
just not gonna
those are
mix.
two things they're not gonna mix. Yeah.
Yeah. And they said his best fit is the Browns, which I mean, of course, he won a playoff game with them. Like, just send him home. Yeah, whatever.
These are some weak picks coming
Right?
from Bleacher. This is,
Yeah.
yeah.
Uh,
These
so
are some weak takes.
my best place for him is to retire. Just go home. Go home, Joe. Just retire.
Okay, yeah,
Nothing
that was
against you.
yeah,
Been around forever.
okay.
Worst team again. Any of them. But if I had to pick
Any,
one in specific,
yeah.
it's the Panthers. Like that is the worst team for him
Oh,
to go
okay,
to. He's
okay,
gonna take what's given
okay.
to him and still suck, and then they're just gonna.
I think Bryce Young could pick up a few things off the old Flacco here. You know what I'm saying?
But he's got Andy Dalton already teaching him.
Oh yeah, the red rifle.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Uh.
Okay.
Okay. We got three more. We got famous Jameis, best and worst place for him to end up.
Ooh.
Okay, I agree with
Oh
their
wow.
best. Their worst is meh because it makes sense they wouldn't take him.
Oh my gosh. Famous Jameis. You know, this is going to be a bit of a hot take. They're both going to be the exact same team for the best and worst team,
Okay.
and it's going to be the New Orleans Saints. Like that is going to be his best and worst. You know, seeing him back in the black and gold and lacing up with the Saints there, I think would be so funny. I wouldn't be able to stop laughing for about 2 hours straight. But it would be an absolute travesty for the team altogether.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. But he's not going to do worse than Spencer Radler, but he's not going to do better either. He's going to get, like, the
Yeah,
Jameis's version of perfect is exact picks to exact touchdowns. It's perfect.
yeah, it
Um,
is. It is.
so, okay. Okay.
That's
I
pretty
think that's,
striking balance for me.
yeah.
You know.
So, worst team that they have Jameis for is the Patriots. Tracks.
Okay.
They're going to go with Drake
Yeah.
May, and Jameis needs receivers, and there's no receivers on that team.
Yeah.
They're not getting any better.
Yeah.
Uh, the best, though, also I think is a great fit, and I think it gives the team and the fan base some hope. It's going to inspire them because guess what? He's going to go out and throw 6 touchdowns, and they're already used to the 6 picks, so it's okay.
Okay.
He's going to be a Raider. He's going to go out there and he's going to be a Raider.
Yeah.
He's gonna
I like
inspire
it.
that
I
team. He's
like
gonna go
it.
out. He's gonna eat a couple W's,
Okay.
like
Yeah, man.
Raider for sure.
Okay.
And so
I like it. I like it. I could definitely see that. I could definitely see that. I would be more than happy him being a stopgap QB if absolutely nothing happens in this offseason. I would love to see James Winston on the team, honestly.
yeah, yeah. Like I said, I think it's a good
I
fit.
think he fits. I think yeah, he fits the culture. You know, I think what he did with the Browns was phenomenal. You know, he gave us one of my favorite performances this last year. Sure, it was
Where
on a
he got
terrible team with a terrible dynamic with a
yeah,
terrible situation. But you want to know what? I ate up every second of it. So you want to know what? I'm happy with that pick.
yeah, absolutely. We're gonna let him come in. Uh,
Yeah.
I would say though the worst. Yeah, I agree with the Patriots. Like it's not the worst thing in the world. I think the Buccaneers would be the worst. Not even because it's going back to his old
Uh,
team, which is fine. I
yeah.
just think that he would feel obligated to like I should be the starter, and that's gonna cut in with Baker Mayfield. And I just think
Yeah.
Baker Mayfield's doing too good right now to even be like messed with.
Yeah.
Like he's got to have an off
Yep.
season before you could talk about
I agree
this.
with that.
Um, Come on. All right, this is another lame duck one. We got Kirko Chains, and where is he
Oh.
going to go? Because technically, I don't think
Okay.
he's been waived yet, so they have the option to possibly
Oh.
keep him, but that's strictly on the fact that they have to wait to like a specific day
Ye-
to do it, or they
That would
lose
be
money.
really lonely. Yeah, if they got rid of him. Um, GM's not going to be looking so stupid after this this off season, huh? Um, wow, wow, wow. I think, dude, honestly, best team is still Atlanta Falcons. You know, worst team, worst team would probably be Jets.
Yeah.
For Kirk here. That's
Okay.
what I would be saying.
Well, you and Bleacher Report have opposite takes. Bleacher Report thinks that Atlanta is the worst team for Kirk Cousins, which it's the low hanging fruit
Wow.
because he got benched for the rookie, and the rookie's doing better than him. He's gonna back up Michael
Yeah.
Penix. I agree. I just don't think
Yeah.
Atlanta's gonna keep him around. Like, I think he's
Yeah.
done. So there's no way they bring him back unless he comes back for like a fraction of the money. Uh,
Okay.
Bleacher Report says the best team is the Browns. I actually don't quite agree with that. Like,
Browns. Yeah.
they're also in a younger rebuilding year, and I just don't
Yeah.
like Kirk's kind of falling off. Like, he needs a built
Yeah.
team around him.
That would be making the same mistake twice. I agree with you here.
Yeah.
And like I think Atlanta would fit just merely on the stakes that they've already signed him. They already have history with him now. Why get rid of him after he learns the whole system? Keep Penix Jr. healthy. Keep your future bright. And build up the team while you still got it. That's what I would say.
Yeah. Uh yeah. My best choice exactly contradicts what I said about the Browns and why they can't take Kirk Cousins, and I'm saying that it's the Giants. But I'm saying it's the Giants
Oh,
for the sole fact that when he had Justin Jefferson, he was golden. He went from the Commanders where he was decent to where he had Justin Sever to number one, and he just took off. And I think Malik Neighbors can do that for him. I just think he needs a quarterback that can get him downfield. So they might not win a lot of games, but Kirk Cousins is going to look good because he's going to connect with Malik Neighbors.
yeah. But like, kind of going back to the same thing. Sure, you got your star player that can catch pretty much everything over his shoulder with the eyes on the back of his head. But that's a single threat. If they're going to triple cover him, they're going to be denying that piece of the offense, and then every other receiver is going to be struggling trying to get the passes that Kirk Cousins throws out. I say a balanced team like the Atlanta Falcons is pretty healthy for him to keep that dynamic around him, get him comfortable in the situation. I think he'd still be productive.
But I'm not disagreeing with you on that. I just think the team's not going to do it because they guaranteed him they owe him like another 60 million. They're not going to pay 60 million for
Yeah.
the backup. They're going to let him go. So he would have to go back to
Interesting.
he. It would be his worst case because he's not signing a starting contract. He's signing a backup contract with them.
Okay, that makes sense. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, wow, wow. In
Uh,
that case, yeah,
I mean, you could still say the
best team.
Falcons, like if he goes back as a backup on a backup deal. But that's why I'm saying like he's not going to keep that money.
Good.
Like he's going to lose the
Yeah.
bag.
Yeah. Uh. Honestly, make him ruin another team. Seahawks.
Yeah, he would ruin the Seahawks. But I think Geno
Yeah.
Smith's doing too good. I don't like that would be a wild move for the coach to bench Geno,
He's
but
doing he's doing good, but they're known to like really pull the rug out from like really good decisions. That's just kind of who the Seahawks are.
true.
So, who knows? Yeah.
That's true. Um okay, so we're on to the last one, which is Aaron Rodgers. I mean, you've been
Oh,
going first. I can go first on this one. Excuse me.
here you go for it.
I think the worst team is the Packers. Like if we're being, like, it's the worst.
Okay.
I'm gonna hit the low hanging fruit on this one. Uh, but if we're being like another worst team, I would say like another team like the Jets that are building up. Giants would be awful. Seahawks would be awful. He needs to just go to an old team.
Yeah.
Like,
I was gonna say the exact same thing. I was gonna say Broncos for worst team.
yeah.
Same situation.
Bleacher Report was doing this to get gotcha. Come look at the rest of it. They said the Jets are the worst team.
Oh, okay.
Oh, he's already there. He's ruined it. He's got the coach and like,
Yeah.
why not?
It's a sinking ship.
Yeah, just let him write it out.
Money well.
You've already
Yeah.
paid the money. You've paid the price. Just let him.
Yep.
Whatever.
Just let Aaron Rodgers do his Netflix specials.
Yeah.
Let him go on these podcasts. Let him,
Because no matter
why
what,
not?
whoever
What
you
would?
bring in is going to beef with him. He's going to want him gone, and then you're going to have to
Yep.
sit there and be like, damn it, do I do it again? Like,
Yep.
uh,
Mhm.
that being said, I don't think the choice they picked for the best is the best fit either. They want him going to Minnesota, which,
Minnesota.
if all right, Bleacher Report, I will give you that
Wow.
one. That's a funny
Wow.
joke because if he goes
That
to
is funny.
Minnesota, that means he completes the I'm entirely exact just like Brett Favre
Yep.
because that is Brett Favre's ending place.
That he retired. Yeah.
But there's
Uh-huh.
no way. There's no way
Yeah.
AOC like AOC. No, it's not AOC. O'Connell
Um,
uh, wants anything to do with Aaron Rodgers. Like that is the quickest
yeah.
way to be like, I don't want to be a head coach anymore. Uh,
Yeah.
so no, I
Yeah.
think they just keep
That's pretty
JJ.
crazy.
I think they also just keep
Honestly,
Sam.
bring Aaron Rodgers over to the Raiders. Let him like ruin the taste of football in his mouth, and then just spit him right back out. That's what I say. That's what I say.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, why not?
He wants to mess around with the league. The league can mess back with him. You know what I'm saying? I mean, our defense don't play with their offense. That's all I gotta say.
There. You know what'd be better? If you really wanted him to suffer, the Panthers. Let him just go get one last big bag.
Oh
Do like what
wow!
Jordan did to oh, I can't remember his name right now. Kwame Brown. What Jordan did to Kwame
What would
Brown,
really be
just
worse though?
absolutely
Would it
dunk on him
be
every day.
would it be Panthers or Titans? What would be worse, truthfully?
Oh, it's still the Panthers. Because I think a good
Is
QB
it?
could improve the Titans. I don't know what's saving the Panthers. They have
Okay.
some good pieces. Like, I don't hate who they have, but there is still quite a gap that Aaron Rodgers is not overcoming. They want the young QB that's going to grow with these guys so they can continue to add pieces. Rodgers is going for the win now. This is not a win now team, and he would know that the moment he got on
Yep.
the field. So,
Yeah. That's fair. That's fair.
yeah.
Yep.
Uh,
All right.
do you got
Should we
another
talk
hot
about
take behind
hot takes? Uh,
besides
I
Lamar
think that was
Jackson?
my hot take.
Yeah. Oh
Was
my God.
Lamar Jackson is indeed washed. You know, I mean, try and get him off the team in this next year. Try and get some first round picks for him. You know, that's what I would say. Get a backup QB. Try and keep together whatever you got. You know, and that's that.
All right. My hot take is well, I think Kirk Cousins, even though he's not worth it, gets one more bag. Like one more fat contract. Like some team is going to be
Yeah.
desperate enough to pay him, but it's not going to be a good team. It's not going to be the Browns. It's not going to be a win now team. It's going to be like I could see New York. I could see New York doing it. Like I think it is a hot take to say that he'd go. Not a hot take to say that he'd go there. A hot take that they'd pay him a lot of money to go there, and or like to back up. Well, maybe in the Panthers. Like maybe they do decide like Bryce Young isn't our guy or something like that. But I don't know. He's just
Yeah.
gonna get one more bag, and it's not gonna make sense. He's gonna be one of the top paid QBs in history for no reason.
Yeah. Yep. That's
So
fair. That is fair.
yeah,
Yeah, and the whole reason for that Lamar Jackson kind of peel back of the endorsement last week to this dichotomy of this week is for the second or third season now, we see him in this postseason, and he does not deliver. You know,
yeah,
he two picks and a fumble in the playoffs, three turnovers in a game against teams that are simply just not turning over is besides the Lions, obviously, is unmistakable. You know, this directly goes on you. You know, this comes down to your ball handle. This comes down to what you need to be executing in the plays.
hmm
And to see him not necessarily even take accountability for his work in the post game interviews as well, just kind of feeling lackadaisical about the whole thing. Um, it's not a good look on the team, honestly, and especially talking to our Ravens friend, you know. I remember wanting Lamar Jackson on our team for so long and seeing like the ability that he has with the teams that he can do. But if all he can achieve is getting to the playoffs, what makes him better than Dak Prescott? You know, that's how I
yeah.
see it at this point. You know, um,
I think that would be a
and that's
hot
that.
take. Instead of saying he's getting replaced, to just have a career like Dak Prescott, because Dak Prescott was never getting replaced. but just he's 90%. Like
Yeah.
stats wise, he's great,
Hmm.
but we just can't seem to
Yeah.
win.
Yeah.
So
I'm saying that you rarely find windows with these echelon of QBs where you can um, take them out, you know?
yeah,
And I think this is one of those moments for Lamar Jackson, unfortunately, you know?
yeah. Well,
That him and Mark Andrews, honestly. I mean, Mark Andrews should honestly retire, but that's just my take.
you should just put a dollar bet on it now, just in case something wild happens. Lamar Jackson to
That's
get
fair.
traded, and Mark Andrews to retire. I think Mark Andrews to retire would have a better payout, but you should
Yeah,
just do it just to
yeah,
see. So,
yeah.
all right.
There we go.
Well, I think that was
Yeah,
a pretty good take.
yeah.
We are the Loose Balls Podcast, and we'll be hanging here. We'll see you same time next week, y'all.
Of course. Bye bye.
Later.